Hello Fly Nation and welcome to the Freestyle Your Life podcast, the one and only podcast inspiring you to live your authentic greatness while teaching you that less is more. I'm your host, Erneste Zimmermann, and I'm on my mission to help you to be the hero you were meant to be and to live what you came for in life and in business. Remember, the quest we came here for is to discover our true nature, explore our potential and share it by living. So, my dear listeners in Fly Nation, today it's my very pleasure to have Richard Villasana with me, and he is educating us together and myself also about foster children. This is his passion and he's doing this for so many years now, and he founded the Forever Homes for Foster Kids foundation, and it's a non-profit, right? And you're so engaged there, Richard. This is just wonderful, the work you're doing there, and for so many years you're doing that. And that's why I invited you to be on the podcast here, because I consider that as really very important, and I wanted to give you the stage to spread your message, because I did learn myself. We really can help there, and you will tell, of course, all the details what you're doing there, and so we can learn more about it. But the overall aim that I learned by preparing for the interview is to reunite immigrant and foster children with their family. So in many cases, there is somebody of the family, grandma or aunt or whatever, but they don't fight together, right? And you are helping there, and this is just amazing what you're doing. So honored to have you here, Richard. We are in one group. That's why I reached out to you, and lovely to have you here. So please tell us just now what you do exactly, and I want to mention also you are a leading international authority of immigration issues and foster families. You're a Navy veteran yourself, and have been featured on all major stations, just as CNN and AP News and ABC and everywhere. And even you translated for the United Nations. That's amazing too. And doing that as an international speaker, and you have been honored as being a California hero, I guess, because of that work, but you will just tell us in a minute. So congrats on all your achievements, Richard. This is amazing what you're doing, and please tell us more and how you work with these children and how we can help all together as we are listening here to ease the foster children's lives, right? So not to have them end on the street or even worse, and how we could help and support. Please, this is your stage.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me to share about the foster children. And yes, it's always wonderful to be on different publications and shows, but it's all about the children. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And so the easiest way to explain this is by talking about one of our foster children that we helped, which was Veronica. She was 15 years old.
Yeah.
She was living with her father. You know, life was normal. She was going to school, thinking about the weekend, junior high. Her life just changed. Her father got sent to prison, and she went immediately into foster care. Now, once you're in foster care, the agencies are required by law, and they jump into action and they try to find relatives. The idea is if we can find enough relatives, then what can happen is that we can find someone who will step up and say, yes, I'll take the child. Mm-hmm. So they looked around, but they could only find one uncle, and he had died 3 years ago. So at this point, there's no relatives that they know of that are in the United States. Now, if she stayed in foster care until she turned 18, this is most likely her life after 18. And that's on her birthday. She doesn't get the birthday cake. She gets to be put on the street when she turns 18.
Right. Because then the support there ends, right?
The support there ends, and that's
Yeah.
in half of the states. At 18, they're out the door.
Yeah.
So in her particular case, at 18 years old, she would be on the street, fending for herself, most likely to be homeless. She could end up in prison because she starts, engaging in crime to get money, to have food, a place to stay.
Yes.
Turn to prostitution. The worst thing that happens to these kids, and this is happening more and more, is that within hours, the sex traffickers know where these kids are going, and they can get picked up and into the system within 6 hours.
Really, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's terrible because they already know where these kids are going to be dropped off. They've already tracked them down, and some of these kids are even recruited while they're in foster care. So that was her probable future. And when you're 15 years old, the probability of getting out of the system by adoption is less than 1%.
Yes.
So
because people want to adopt young babies, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's lots of them. So the teenagers, they know this. Once they're in the system, they know their odds of getting adopted are very slim.
Yeah.
So that was her life, getting out at 18, staying in the system for 3 years, unless something else happened. And the only relatives that the agency knew about was her mother, who had left the U.S. and had gone to live in another country, and gone to live in Mexico. So the agency was desperate. They came to us and they said, look, can you find her mother? And that's one of the areas we specialize in as a charity. We do that work. And so 3 weeks later, we found her mother. And her mother gave us information about 2 aunts that were living in Houston, Texas. And so that's where Veronica went to live. Houston, Texas. She's back in school. She's back on track. And she's back with family that loves her and will keep her safe.
Yeah.
That's the work we do.
Yeah. And I, of course, learned about Veronica. She's a lovely girl, right? When I studied all the case studies there in preparation for our interview. So I know what I'm talking about here. And she's an amazing girl. And she was almost on the street, right? And
exactly.
And nobody knows, well, you can estimate, as you just laid out to us, with prostitution and whatever, get raped, especially young girls on the street there. Everybody can imagine that would not be the right place for them, of course, right? So you support to find the relatives and then to bring them together. Is that right?
Yes, and by law, there are laws coming out over the last 10 years that has always been the focus of social services of foster care, because foster care was not an institution that was created so kids could be in there for years. It was never supposed to be long-term babysitting, long-term childcare. It was supposed to be something really short. You take a child out of a situation where they're being physically abused or sexually abused. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it happens. And there are stories like this, always on the internet about parents who starved their kids or beat their kids or, molested their children. And, we need to take them away from those unsafe environments and put them in a safe place like foster care. But the challenge is we've got more kids coming in than we can handle. The agencies are overwhelmed. And so children are staying years and years in the system. So this concept came up of looking for relatives. And the idea is to get enough relatives. So again, someone steps forward like an aunt, a grandparent, says, I'll take them and get them out of the system. But when you start talking about relatives who have moved out of the country and are living somewhere else, Well, that's not resources or expertise that these caseworkers have been trained in. They're not
Okay, I
trained in.
see. Yeah.
Now, you're from another country, so you can understand differences in culture, language, how
Yeah.
things operate a little differently.
Yes.
Well, that's the kind of knowledge these people don't have generally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, there are some people, of course, in Texas and California along the border that, they're savvy and they've been in the position for 10 years, so they know how to do some things. But that's
Yes.
one person here, one person there. This is not across the industry of foster care. So many of these agencies, just like with Veronica, they get desperate. They're struggling, and they'll come to my charity because we are the only charity in North America that specializes in this work outside of the government.
Yeah, but my question is, first and foremost, Richard, what did you get into it? Is it just you love kids like I do? I have two sons. Of course, I love kids, right? But yeah, I'm just learning a lot from preparing and from talking to you about foster care. This was not just so in my mind. So I'm, yeah. We are really educational in this talk today, and the other thing is how could people help?
So the answer to the question, how did I get into this? I was very lucky. I had a mentor years ago who pointed out that I had this gift of finding people, and I had done this professionally.
Okay.
Outside of being the founder of Forever Homes for Foster Kids, I also spent 20 years in international marketing.
Yes.
So I have done business throughout Latin America. I've worked with 80% of the countries there. I've dealt and lived in Europe. I've lived in Mexico for 10 years. I was a professor of English at one of their universities.
Yeah.
So I've got this rich background of international business, and it was pointed out to me I had this talent for finding people. And over time, people would contact me to find professional, associates. And then they started asking me to find personal, family members. And so after a time, we started getting calls from agencies across the country because we deal nationally with foster care. And we would get calls from Pennsylvania or California or Florida asking us to help them with these foster care cases. And so that's how I ended up getting into this. I had this gift and this ability to use resources and to, by understanding the culture, there's a lot of information that happens with names and just how the system works to get people to come together to assist us so we can find these children, their relatives, that are living outside of the U.S. and get these children out of foster care. So that's how I got started. But I did have a key conversation with a gentleman. He called me up about 12 years ago. And he's someone who trains across the country on locating those relatives I talked about. And he said, I've been following your career. I like your success. We've got so many thousands of children who have relatives living in Mexico and Latin America, and they need someone like you to help them. And after I hung up the phone, I said, okay. And I created a whole division just focused on those kids. That's all that it does. And so we have been doing it, but I really ramped it up by 10. And I know that you have, entrepreneurs listening. So this would be like having a small shop and all of a sudden you're in 10 different states, just like that. We just ramped it up, contacted everybody and said, look, give us your cases. We're here to help you. And that's how we really, started stretching out and reaching so many more children and getting them out of the system.
And the first and foremost, of course, you need to get out and spread the message of the wonderful work you provide there, right? So people can reach out and children, and that's why I said I will spread this message with you together here, so more people get to know that this is really important, right? This is young people having no other option than maybe be on the street, especially when they have to drop out with 18. And yeah, you're giving them hope and inspiration, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm totally flashed.
Well, one thing I want to say about foster children, there is a kind of general perception that these are troubled kids, that somehow they did something to get in that position, and that is completely not true. Mm-hmm. These are kids who are victims. And what I have found with foster kids is because of the changes moving from home to home, on average, kids change their home twice a year. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that means they just changed their school also. So they left their family, their friends, that favorite teacher. It's all gone, and they have to adapt. And that moving around causes these children to be very creative. They're very sharp. They're adaptable because their environment is changing constantly. So they've got to figure out how to work in a new environment, new friends. Those are incredible skills that they can bring to the table for businesses.
Yes.
And thinking of it that way. So they're a wonderful resource, that people don't think of them that way. But these are children with all these talents and skills that they can bring to bear if they're given an opportunity. Yes. So if businesses step up and take them in and work with them, they will get an amazing workforce. Not to mention the fact that they're helping these kids to have stability in their life once they're out of foster care, because, like you said, they can become homeless, end up in prison, turn to crime. And these are the outcomes for most of the children. Fortunately, there are some who do break that cycle, but that's the minority. We need to be helping more of these children because that's our workforce. And just to let you know, annually, 24 to 25,000 children end up on the street every year.
Really? Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had the feeling that we really should care, all of us, more and learn more, of course, to be able to be supportive, right? And to support even more. So you just mentioned, of course, you have the charity there, and donation is very welcome, my dear listeners here. I will share the website and everything you have there. But the other thing is that those kids being dropped out with 18, they are in the age to work, right? And that's a total different consideration than I had. I wasn't even thinking of that, to employ them.
Exactly, and that's one of the things they'll be desperate for, is to be employed and to have a way to pay. Some of these kids come out of the system with less than $100 in their pocket. Mm-hmm. Some come out of the system with no money in their pocket.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to share that there is hope here. It is not hopeless.
Yeah.
Because if anything, foster care has to be about hope and doing better.
Yes.
And part of that is that half the states do now allow children to stay into the system up until 21, which is allowing more foster kids to get that high school diploma. So at least they're getting their high school completed. And some of them, the states now have programs, Nevada and one other state, I think it was Pennsylvania, just put into law that students who are foster children will be able to go to college tuition free.
Yeah.
Which is
a great thing. Yeah.
It is a great thing. Yeah. Now they still have to have food and a place to live, and they still have to get their books, So there's still quite a cost, but at least the tuition portion of it, they can qualify and have that waived. So states are looking at ways that they can help these kids, and businesses need to be a part of that solution, though. It can't just be education. Businesses can step up and help in a myriad of ways, and here's something that businesses need to keep in mind. Millennials are the growing workforce, and millennials like companies. They like working with companies that have a social interest, companies that are looking to help their community, companies that are offering those millennials a way to engage with the community on behalf of the company.
Yes.
So businesses will be wise to start engaging and reaching out to agencies and charities who are dealing with foster kids. The most popular one is the mattress company, that they have built a lot of their marketing on talking about foster kids to get people into their store to look at their merchandise. Because
want to spell it, please, Richard? Spell it, please.
Oh, mattress, like your bedroom mattress.
Yeah.
So the mattress store.
Okay.
And they're all over the country. And what they've done is they've focused on foster kids throughout the year. So you'll hear ads about them helping foster kids. And they do. They will give free mattresses to foster parents. So if they've got a child coming in and they don't have a bed, they can get the bed. But if they don't have the mattress, well, that's a cost for some people. They'll give them the mattress for free.
Oh, that's great.
It's a wonderful. Oh, see, there's your reaction. That's great. That's the reaction they're looking for. So when you're thinking of mattress, who are you going to go to? Joe's mattress shop down the way, or to the mattress store, which is helping foster kids? Which one sounds more attractive?
Right. And that's, of course, they can advertise with being involved there, doing great work, right?
Exactly.
And that way they will benefit at the end, right? So compared to the other company that is not at all interested in supporting and helping. Yeah, totally agree.
It's truly going to get to a point where you've got the ones who are helping the community and those who don't seem like they're helping, who, the attitude may be that they're not there for the community. And this is a way for businesses to differentiate themselves very easily and get those customers in because of that emotional attachment, that feeling that you're helping my community. Of course I want to shop with you.
Yeah.
And so
to point it out real clear is the young generation is the ones who gonna be leading and buying all things, right? So industry and companies should really consider that, right?
Absolutely.
This is the market of tomorrow, right? The small children or the grown-up.
Absolutely. And so, businesses can step up and help in, many ways. Of course, donations are always appreciated, but there are other ways that businesses can help. They can have a program where an employee can recommend a nonprofit to them, and they will give out so much money in donation on behalf of that employee. That's a great incentive for employees to become involved with nonprofits.
Yes.
They can allow employees to spend a few hours a month volunteering and get some kind of compensation from the company or time off without losing their pay. That's very attractive to millennials. So a company doesn't have to go very far to find ways that they can support a charity, and again, not only get the benefit of that outreach for the community, so the community is looking at the company favorably, but also their employees who are looking at how can I participate with my company, doing a fun run. I mean, these are things that build teamwork, build interest in the company, PR for the company, because when you've got 10 people running a little, 10-mile race or a 5-mile, a 5K.
Yeah.
There they are with those T-shirts saying the company's name is free advertising.
Yeah.
So companies just need to get a little creative here on ways that they can do things. There are restaurants that will do a special night where they'll take the proceeds and they'll donate it. So the choices are endless for businesses to be part of this and help their bottom line.
Yeah, we should need to really think a little bit out of the box to become creative there and at this point. And thanks for mentioning the ideas, because we are not, of course, into it like you, Richard. But this is, I'm really, I'm sure everybody could help a little bit, right? This is like protecting and maintaining nature for example, my grandchildren. So should I have some later on? We all need to stick together and work together, right? So everybody can do something to support and to help in the benefit of the overall.
That's true. And one last thought just to share with your audience is what we call in-kind donation. That's where they have a specialty. Maybe they're great with websites, or they're great with marketing or publicity. That's something that they can also do that is very appreciated by charities, is doing what they call in-kind. And that's offering the services that they do normally and offering those for free to a charity. And again, that's an easy way for them to participate with a charity and to partner and to give that message out to the community. So it's not always about money, but money does pay the bills, but also having those services can be very beneficial to a charity. So those are two ways that businesses can engage. So it's not all one or the other. There's options here. And again, just to share with you, our goal for the rest of this year is to get 50 foster children between now and the end of the year into a new home, either with relatives or, if necessary, adopted. Mm-hmm. But that's our goal, is to get 50 children between now and December 31st into new homes.
Mm-hmm. That would be, of course, the biggest, greatest Christmas present for them, huh?
Absolutely, because these children get depressed around the holidays. They get sad. They know that they're not going to be getting the gifts. And that's not to say that there aren't great foster parents out there. There are. But sometimes that's just not something that these children are used to. They're not used to getting new shoes, new clothes, new toys. They're lucky if they get one of the three. And it may be a very modest or not much of a holiday. Mm-hmm. So to give them a chance to be with a family where they're stable and they can go to the same school, make friends, is amazing for these children.
Yeah. I can totally imagine. But do you also provide sort of addresses from children, and they stay in the foster care, but they could possibly just for Christmas or New Year they could go somewhere to at New Year's Eve? Is that it? Just pops to my mind. I don't know if this is practicable.
It gets challenging taking the child out because they're under the care of the state and usually the county. And as you can imagine, those agencies want to make sure the children are safe, the coordinating, and unfortunately the holidays is the time where they have the least amount of people because they're also on holiday. Yeah. So it's a wonderful thought, and maybe someone listening to this will think of a way to work around that and find a solution. That's where we need business people. They think about solutions. Yeah. And it could be someone in the business community listening here who says, I have an idea. I know how I can make that happen. Because that's a wonderful thought, to give them some kind of special holiday that they could enjoy and keep that memory with them. Now, that's a wonderful thought. I don't think it's happening, but we'll put it out there to your listeners that maybe someone can think about that, talk to their county, and maybe even if it was just a small party or some kind of meeting or some kind of event at a museum or a zoo or some kind of outing, that would make such an impact on these children.
Yeah, I'm always in for compassionate love. I think that's what we really need more, right? To share compassionate love. So we all have our gifts. Some of them have not discovered them yet, or still have their own problems, right? But still, I believe we could always be supportive in whatever way, right? And if it's just sharing compassionate love or nourish these kids there or give them a present for Christmas or invite them to some activity like zoo or whatever you just mentioned, that would be much more than they have now, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, that's why it's so important to talk about these children, because otherwise we don't really hear anything about them. Mm-hmm. We don't know about their struggles of moving from home to home. And we don't know about the struggles that they have, because just in that one area, moving from home to home and changing schools, that means if they didn't finish a semester, now they have to take that history class or that English class all over again. That means it takes them longer to get their degree, which means by the time they hit 18, they may not be finished. They may have a year or 2 years more of high school to go. So and we all know the value of education. We may have our opinions of how good it is, but we all acknowledge that education is critical to our youth. And that is a serious problem for foster kids, is having the time and staying in one place so they can graduate, at least get their high school diploma, and then have the option to go to college or to a trade school and to learn more so they can function in the workforce. And so anything we can do to help these children to get them out faster. And again, our focus is on getting them with their families. It's not always the perfect solution. It's not always the best solution, but at least if we try to get them with their relatives, most often they do very well. And for those cases where we can't find a relative, and it happens, there's adoption. And our work has opened the door for adoptions to move forward, because the courts at times will say, we need to know that you tried to find the father, or that you really tried to find the mother. And the judges will ask the agency to do more work, and that's when they come to us. And they say, look, help us show that we're doing our job. We'll do the work and then present it. And we've had lots of adoptions that were stuck. That means a child was waiting to get to their new parents and they were stuck in the system. But because of our work and our results, it opened the door for that adoption to go through, and now that child is with their permanent family.
Yeah, it's I'm totally flashed, Richard. This is so amazing and so important, really, the work that you do, and you are all in with all your heart, and I'm so honored to have you here, and grateful for the amazing work you're doing for these kids there. And I think we covered a lot in the ways of thinking outside the box. So how everybody here on the pod listening could think of being of support and help. And this is not just talking about donations, but what can we bring to the table, right? Could be love, could be closest. It's not all about money, right? And these kids really need a vision and an option to move on, right? If everything is desperate and nobody cares, that's the problem when they end up on the street, right?
Exactly. And again, there are so many different ways now that people can help. Um, we have a Facebook page. People
Yeah,
can go there, and many people do for their birthday. They will do a fundraiser.
yeah,
Uh, People can donate right there on the page. There are so many ways that, and it should be pointed out, it doesn't take a lot. A really good friend of mine who specializes in social media training raised money by simply telling people, give $5. That's it.
yeah,
If everyone who saw this would give $5, she said, we would fund this for the year. And that is so
yeah.
true. If people would just, do that little bit,
Mm.
$2. There's no amount that's too small, but if everyone did that multiplication
Yeah.
would
And the ripple
be
effect, yes.
the ripple effect. Yes, it's amazing. So again, these children, they're coming up on a very hard time. They're coming up on the holidays. They're alone. And the greatest gift that anyone can give these children is to reunite them with a relative, let them know they're not alone, to keep them
Yeah,
from being depressed and so sad because they feel that there's no one who cares for them. And we
yeah,
can solve that.
yeah. Yeah, and just like mentioning ideas is really important, and you are of course doing this work. And what came to my mind, how could I help, is just really to let you spread the message, to let you talk, because you are working this on a daily basis. I just learned about all that by preparing for the interview, but I'm giving you my stage to spread the message widely, right? The more people hear about it and realize there is a problem, not everybody knows about it, right? So everybody could do something, right?
Absolutely. And just a quick story. Children sometimes are the best people to help children. One of the stories that we love is a girl who was turning 8 years old, and she heard something about foster children not having backpacks to carry their books and food to school. And she told her mom, so they had a birthday party, and the gift was that everyone had to bring a brand new backpack so they could take the backpacks and give it to the local foster care agency for the
Yeah,
kids. That was her birthday present. Instead of getting gifts for her, she had children bring backpacks to give to other children.
yeah,
And so
wonderful.
it's amazing that sometimes our children are more compassionate and have that idea of giving and more entrepreneurial and looking at how can I solve this problem instead of thinking about, they just go into action and they just make it happen. So children are
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's just another tip you gave, how support could be really put into action, right? And yeah, or fundraising activity there or whatever. I believe everybody could help more for these kids or for the environment, or for, I'm active in the ocean, but I don't have an ocean right now besides me, but I believe it's we will kill ourselves, right? Putting all the trash and the rubbish and the plastic into the ocean, and we are eating our own plastic with the food of the ocean. How silly is that? I totally don't have enough brain to understand that, but I cannot change the law, but I can for myself assist the ocean cleanup. It's called ocean cleanup. It's just an example for the listeners of what we could do, and I can support them, and they have boats to fish the rubbish there, right? And we can always do something. It's just to be willing and really to share compassionate love. And if we all gonna be supportive in a little bit only, right? That sums up.
Absolutely, the power of the many is amazing. It is something that I think people don't really comprehend how many people can come together, and if they just took a little action, just did that one little thing, it makes such an impact. And working with what you said about ocean cleaning, I'm sure you've seen it where you get enough people, and the amount of trash that gets collected in a way is just astonishing.
Yeah.
But it took those people giving up their morning to come down to the beach and to do the cleanup. But the results are, again, truly amazing when people come together and they work to help a particular cause. And so, whether they, support our nonprofit or they find someone else doing good works in their area, it's all good because it's all going to help everybody.
Yeah. And we really, I'm not getting tired to mention the compound effect of all that, right? The more we are getting into it, everybody doing just as little as he can, but then more and more come, right? They have it here also, cleaning the forests. So this is just it gets announced when and where this takes place, and you just can go there and help cleaning up. It's not a big deal. It's 2 hours or 3 hours. I've done it myself. It's just the time you invest, right?
It's the time. And, this is, with us, this is a way for people who care about children, who want to help children, especially foster children. This is a way for them to be able to do so by partnering with us and by supporting us, so we can, in turn, do that work and help these agencies, which ultimately helps the children. That's the bottom line on all of this. It's for the children. And it is our motto, it is our mission, it is our vision that we get every child that's in foster care as a family who will take them in.
And you're so passionate about it, Richard, and can't be grateful enough for you doing this wonderful work, and it's amazing. And well, my dear listeners, everybody could do a little thing that sums up at the end, and we need to stick together to get things done, right? We cannot be doing or facing our environmental problems we have there. And I just had a client this morning, and she couldn't make the appointment because they have all the forest around is burning, right? She's in Carolina, and everything is burning around from her house. So I said, don't worry, you don't need to come, of course, right? But this is, we see this in nature with pollution, with water going over the borders. We see that every day, right? And we all need to do a little something, and this really spreads and ends up in a big help, in a supportive help. So thanks so much, Richard, for giving us ideas out of the box how we could support you there in your phenomenal work that you're doing. And I will also mention the free report in the show notes, so people can learn more about what it is and what you do and everything. So it's all about foster children and ways to reunite them with their families, right?
Exactly. It's a free report. If they go to our website, Forever Homes for, that's FOR, fosterkids.org, right there on the homepage. There's a way for them to get our free report, which again talks about many of the numbers, the statistics that we talked about here, what can possibly happen to these foster children, and ways that people can help. And again, we made it very easy. There's a green donate button, so they can click on it and they can give whatever amount that they would like to, again, be part of the solution, because there are solutions out there that work and that do help these foster children.
Yeah, and could be also somebody like I giving you a stage to share about this work, right?
Absolutely.
And so whatever we are in or working on, there is a possibility to assist, right? So this is not, I wasn't thinking of donating money. I thought, how can I be of assistance for the amazing work he does? So let more people know about it. And I said, he has to come here and tell us about the details and the cases and the kids like Veronica, and so we get to learn what it is and what is needed and how we could help.
Well, and I certainly appreciate it, because getting the word out about foster children is so important. And just in closing, as you said, I want people to remember there are thousands of Veronicas. There are thousands of children with a story like Veronica, some worse, some a little better. But these are all children who are looking for a forever home, a place for them to stay, a place for them to be cared for and protected and loved. And that's something that we can make happen for these children.
That's so wonderful. I will mention everything in the show notes, so listeners can look it up and have the links and the report and everything. And whenever I can be of assistance for you, Richard, just reach out to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, you're so welcome, and I'm honored to have you here, and I'm really glad that I could support you in bringing the message out today here. Thanks so much, and big hug.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Okay, my dear listeners, we learned so much about the topic that is really important. We all should help and support Richard on his really passionate mission to help these children. And of course, like always, I will put everything in the show notes so you could look it up and have the links and everything. And I will put, should I put your email, Richard?
Oh, yes, go right ahead.
Okay, I will put his email so you could also reach out to Richard. Where are you located? Near LA region, right?
We're in San Diego, absolutely.
In San Diego. I love this city. Okay, so somebody living around there could come over, and I will share your email so people could reach out. Okay?
That'd be excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So everybody have a lovely day.
Thanks for listening in. I hope you got new inspiration to seek help and surrender to love no matter what situation you're in. Hopefully you could take away that transformation is possible. By getting the right support, you can embrace life joyfully and enjoy your life on your own authentic terms. Please rate and review the Freestyle Your Life podcast on freestyle-your-life.com/podcast if you like today's talk, and make sure you qualify for the amazing I Love to Fly podcast giveaway by subscribing and referring 3 friends to the Freestyle Your Life podcast. All experts and myself are happy to assist and support you. Just reach out to us. Thanks for joining us today, and don't forget to tune in next Thursday and listen in to your next inspiration on how to freestyle your life. You'll learn another priceless shortcut on how to break free and restyle your life on your own authentic terms. Becoming authentically you will ease your life and business. Remember, Fly Nation, break free and fly. Looking forward to talk to you next Thursday. Bye.